happy to be talking. So happy to be talking with you today. It's been a pleasure to work with you during the course of pulling together the Be the Beacon book. I love your chapter that's called Confidence and Beauty, just absolutely divinely written chapter. I'd love to hear from you if you could tell us a little bit about the work that you are, the work that you do, who you are in the world. Just share a little bit about yourself with us.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Elizabeth. I was looking forward to it all week. So I identify myself as a fashion therapist. My background is in social work and in teaching. And for the past 12 years, I have been working for a company based out in California called CABI. And it's a multi-level marketing group. And within that context, I've been selling clothes to women for 12 years. And in those relationships, what I learned is that I really wasn't selling clothes. I was selling confidence. And women would stand before me and just talk about their body shape and their self esteem and how they struggled and they frustrated with finding clothes that really helped them feel beautiful. And so within these 12 years, I had some great aha moments and some very transformational, styling sessions with women. And so I took all of that information and I put it in my chapter, which I'm so glad that you enjoyed.
Yeah. And I love that you talk about doing that it's therapeutic with
Mhm.
people, right? And I love that your background is this in social work. So you're out bringing this. I can relate as writing is always therapeutic, right? In its nature, it can be. And I love that you bring this to people, this transformation. And it's funny that you said it almost sounded like you said formidable or something like that. What comes up with people? Does it feel formidable sometimes?
Yeah, sometimes women, it is very formidable for them to actually step into I have a boutique in my basement and I kind of take them on a journey. And I like to say I get into their hearts before I get into their closets because I need to find out how they're feeling inside and what makes them feel beautiful before I start working with them. And I've had many women cry when they've been with me because of joy, because they've actually found that aha moment where they looked gorgeous in their outfits. And other times, it kind of took them to a place of sadness that we had to sort of walk through before I could continue with them.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's wonderful that you have this background that you can be present with whatever it comes up, whatever it brings up with people. I see Jess here with us, and I'd love to also have Jess Prey introduce herself since she's here with us live. And I saw a little hand wave also, so I'm wondering what that was was about.
Hi, Liz. Hi,
Hi,
Mary.
Jess.
Hi, Jeff.
Um, I was raising my hand as Mary was talking about being with people that cry in her studio because
Oh.
I cry almost every time I talk to Mary. She just like makes me feel so comfortable being real and being present with my emotions. So
And I love working with you, Jess. It's always so much fun. Not that I want to make you cry every time we're together.
But
we've
I
talked
get
about
that,
this. It's a
right? It
good thing.
sounds like it sounds like you're creating a space where someone can actually express themselves and be themselves, right? So that's really a beautiful thing. I know when I talk about when I do coaching sessions with people, I'm like, okay, so we laugh and cry every time. So what's that about, right? So I think people get that same experience with you, Mary. I'd love to hear. So the the topic that we had is around embracing your ugly. What do you mean with that? Can you share about that with?
Don't you just love that? Embracing your ugly. I mean, it's just awesome. So I've actually categorized three groupings of dress that you will find in your closet on any given day. And one of the categories or groupings is called embracing your ugly. It's like days like today, if you happen to be in Connecticut, where it's pouring rain outside and it's damp and it's dark, and all you want to do is literally take the blankets on your bed, just cover up your head and not even like peek out from underneath there. You just want to stay in your pajamas. You want to maybe sit on the couch in your snuggles and just watch Netflix all day. I call that embracing your ugly. That's being your true, authentic self. You don't have to show up for anyone. You can just be. So that's what I like to call embracing your ugly. And then the second level of dress is more of that casual athleisure wear dress where you wake up in the morning, put your athletic clothes on with the intent of working out. And today you're going to do it. You're going to get to that gym. And then your day is propelled forward by all the tasks and all of the things that you need to do for yourself and for your family. And before you know it, the day is over. You haven't exercised. So you change up out of your athleisure wear, back into your pajamas. And, tomorrow's another day. So maybe you can try to get that exercise in then. And then the last level of dress is what I like to call, just showing up leveling yourself and being the best version of who you are. And those clothes in your closet are kind of those pieces that you pull out to really boost your confidence. So you're like presenting in front of people and you need to show up that best version. And so those, in my brain, those are the three categories. You might have different categories in your closet, but that's what I find mostly in the closets of the women that I serve.
And I'm curious what experience people have after they've gone through this. I know you have processes of helping people clear go through their wardrobe and what they have in it and make sure it reflects them and all of that. What happens on the other side of that? What's the experience for women, either professionally or personally? What happens for folks once they have gone through this sort of thing with you?
It's almost like a giant exhale. It's like, oh my God, I never knew that my closet could be like this or feel like this. I never knew that I could start my day without stressing about what I'm going to put on my body. I never knew that I could walk into my closet and no matter what I chose, it was going to work for me and it was going to make me feel amazing. So they just release all of those pieces in their closet that no longer serve them, that for whatever reason, whether they had gained weight or lost weight, whether they changed careers, whatever the story is that is being held in that space, we get rid of it and we make it a happy story, one with a good ending.
And I know I just went through a move, right? So I got to decide what clothes I was bringing over to the new place. And I got to benefit from reading your chapter and to really think, okay, are these things that reflect me? Are they things I feel comfortable in, that I feel like my best self in? And I can't tell you how much this has helped me personally to actually have the things that I actually enjoy wearing in my closet and have it to be organized and flowed, right? So it's funny because it changes. It's not an extra side thing. This is every morning where it impacts us. So it's something just as critical as the food that we're eating, right? The work that we do, it really transforms, has the power to transform our lives in many different ways. It's so cool that you bring this to people. Yeah.
It is really cool. And I think we all have a choice as far as how we want to begin our day, and be very intentional with that morning ritual. And we have to go into our closet and get dressed every day. I mean, we just can't get around that. So you might as well make that an experience that fills you instead of depletes you. And then you have to go back in the closet again at night, when you're getting undressed and putting your pajamas on. So I tell the story in the book and how my mom had passed 2 years ago, and I had the dress that I wore to her funeral in my closet. And I would see it, and either consciously or subconsciously, it always made me think of the day of her funeral service. And I'm like, why is this dress in my closet? I'm like, I need to get this out of here. There's no reason that it needs to be in there. It does not have my permission to be in that sacred space. So I took it out. And now it's away, packed. Hopefully I'll never have to use it for a funeral in the near future, but it's in another closet in my home. And I did the same thing with my pants. I mean, as all of us, I'll speak for myself. I've gained a little bit of weight during COVID. Not a ton, but I went up a size in jeans. And I would go into my closet and I would put that same size jean on, hoping that it would grow while I slept overnight and hoping that it would fit. And guess what? It didn't fit. And so I went and bought all the size larger and put those in my closet. And I'm like, wow, this is just awesome, because now every time, no matter what pair of pants I put on, they fit me. So that would be my best advice to anyone who's listening to this podcast, is to literally get all the clothes out of your closet that no longer fit you, because it just depletes your energy and it makes you feel bad about yourself.
I love this idea of you talking about being a sacred space also, and that certain things don't have permission to be there. It's funny how it's almost like we have a loyalty to certain items or clothes that we just don't need to. It can zap our energy. So I love that. That's really cool to think of, this sacred space that we're creating in our homes for ourselves to begin and end our day, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes, I'm sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, you.
I was just thinking, like, sometimes women, when I'm helping a woman purge her closet, and it's called a closet audit, where I'm kind of like what not to wear. Like, I literally take out all the clothes out of your closet, I put them on empty racks, and I stand in front of you and I hold them up, and you have to viscerally respond, like, am I going to keep this, or are you going to purge this? And it can't be about how much you spent on that item.
Oh.
So much we hold onto things because we think of them as valuable to us because of the amount of money that we spent on them. But it's not serving us energetically. It is not serving us in helping us grow internally. But we won't let it go because we paid, $250 for this dress and we wore it once. So I kind of like you to think about cost per wear. Like, depending on how many times you've worn that piece, it kind of goes down in value. It's almost like when you drive a car out of the parking lot or out of where you bought it, it goes down in value, then immediately drive it on the road. It's just what it is. And so for you to let go of these items that monetarily you think are a value, but really personally, they're not a value to you at all.
And I'm curious what do you do with people to help them select, say if they're wearing clothes that just isn't flattering to them, or they don't feel like comfortable in them or feel like themselves. I'm sure you come across women where it's not a fit. For some reason, there's a reason they're dressing a certain way, they're just carrying forward. What do you do with people to help them find their style if they don't have a sense of what that is now? I'm curious.
Well, first they have to be open to it.
Right.
And then we need to take a deeper dive as to why they're wearing clothes that are not fitting them. Are they trying to hide their body because they've gained a little bit of weight? Or are they trying to hide their body because their girls might be a little bit larger than their friends, and their girls might be a little bit smaller? And dressing different body shapes it's hard sometimes. It truly is. For example, I have two daughters. One is 5'4", the other is 5'10". My one that's 5'4" is an hourglass. She is literally shaped like an hourglass. And things that she wore when she was in middle school looked very different than on her friends who hadn't yet developed. And so teaching her how to choose clothing that worked with her body type was really difficult. And then I had another, daughter who was 5'10", and she could literally put on anything and she looked amazing because her height could carry the textile. So again, I think it's really about education, understanding what your body type is, number one, and then I can make suggestions as far as fit and design that is going to accentuate your assets. And it's going to make you look better. And when you look better, you feel better. You just can't help it. You just can't.
Yeah. So in this half hour, we like to talk about like tips and tricks and hacks and things like that. If you could boil it down to some, I don't know, tips or tricks for people's wardrobe or closets or anything, what advice would you give people, the short and sweet of it?
All right, so I have 4 tips and tricks, and it really has nothing to do with sort of your clothing that you wear. It has everything to do with how you show up in the world. Like, your energy literally enters the room before you do. And so work on your confidence, ladies, because that truly is what people experience and feel. So you could be wearing a paper bag, but if you're confident about wearing that paper bag, you're going to look amazing in it. But you also have to pay attention to your hairstyle, making sure that it's sort of up to date, that it frames your face. A little bit of makeup goes a long way. I'm not saying you have to put on layers every day, but a little bit of lipstick, a little mascara, just, maybe some foundation that sort of smooths out your face so that it's more even. And undergarments, ladies, I cannot talk to you more about getting the right bra. So I know a lot of you have worked. I'm forgetting. I'm sorry, Carol, with Carol, and you bought bras from her, which is awesome. But the rule of thumb is that you have to make sure that the girls sit like right at your muscle line. So between your shoulder and your elbow, that's where they should lie. And if they don't, when you put on clothes, that silhouette is going to look very, very different. It changes your look completely if your bra is not helping you showcase your shape as best as it can.
I know I've definitely noticed that with certain dresses, right? I'll go, well, this looks great right now, or it can look totally trash, right? If I
It
don't
can.
get the undergarments correctly.
It is so
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
that's good advice. Yeah. It's interesting with the confidence, right? Because it is cyclical, right? So if you're feeling good, you can feel with what you're wearing, you can feel more confident, and it also can make you look much better if you walk into a space with the confidence as well. Yeah.
So clothing is a tool. It's the tool like your makeup and like, how you do your hair. It's just another extension of how you communicate to the world around you. And it's up to you what you want to communicate.
So I'd like to hear what your experience was with writing the chapter for Be the Beacon. What was that like for you to write?
It was a little arduous for me. I am not a natural born writer by any stretch of the means. My dyslexia actually is in my family. So I had to go back through it numerous times to sort of rewrite and reword and making sure that my message came across in the words in print. These thoughts had been in my mind for over a year now, and you gave me the opportunity, Liz, to take all of those thoughts and put them in a safe place and a safe space in order for them to grow and to gain clarity in the message that I wanted to share with the readers. So thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for sharing your story. And I love it when I get to publish chapters and work with people that might not, feel like they're writers, or that it feels like a little trickier task, might not flow as naturally, because your story is so important and helpful to people. So thank you for getting over that hurdle and pushing through it to get the chapter. It's a great chapter in there. So thank you for that. I'd love to know what things are coming up for you, if you have different events coming up or anything you want to let us know about that's in your world, or ways that people can work with you. Anything to share on that?
Sure. If you want to find me, you can go to MC, capital M, capital C, styling.com. That's my Wix site, and it tells you a little bit more about my background, and that's also a way that you can book a session with me. I also, because of your chapter, Liz, I think I'm going to write a book. Women cannot stop sharing their stories with me about their style story or a time they felt the most beautiful in their life. And I had my first focus group last night, and I had invited a group of women. I read my chapter to them just to get their reaction. And it's very powerful. And I think there's more to be shared and more to be said about that feeling of confidence and how that ties into beauty. And also, if you are a woman of color, please contact me, because I need to hear your story. I don't have enough women in my friend group or in my networking group in order to do the ask. So please, I'm putting that out there. Just let me know, because I'm really looking for more information.
Of that, being able to collect different stories and from a wide variety of people and different backgrounds. I think it's lovely that you're looking at that. This is really great. And it's can help so much, the stories that we put together. I know in the collaborations, it's this is how we grow as you know, women and entrepreneurs and everything. I'm wondering, because I know we have a lot of people from professional backgrounds in the Ladies Power Lunch. Many of us run our own businesses. I wonder, like, this is a pop question, surprise question, but I'm curious if you have any advice as business owners. Like, is there anything that you have to give to people? Any advice on how to run a successful business, like how to find, connect with new clients, like anything on that for us?
I think, the one thing that comes to mind is just be you. Don't try to be somebody else. Your passion is going to come forward regardless of what venue you happen to be in. And I think that attracts people to you, because if you believe your own story, then people are going to be, they're going to want to be with you and take whatever journey that you happen to be on.
I love that. It's funny, when I first started the entrepreneurial journey, I felt like there was somebody else I had to be, like to live up, I had to transform into this, to be and to connect. And once I realized that I could, if I actually just am myself, get out of my own way and just show up and connect with other people as a human being, that's when things can really grow and thrive and feel good as a business owner as well. You don't have to be somebody else. So that's really cool. I want to thank the people that are watching along with us, that have joined us. We have Annie Garland, Marianne Pax of Zan, Wendy Ladd. Thank you all for being here with us during our coffee chat this morning, our coffee break. I don't see any questions or anything that people have, but if anybody pops in any chats in the Facebook group, we're happy to answer them. Anything else that you'd want people to know, Mary?
I think just pay attention to your feelings when you're getting dressed, and making sure that what you're putting on your body is in alignment with who you are, and try to stay in your own lane, and focus on yourself. I give the example of, thinking of Whoopi Goldberg in a Jessica Parker dress. That image is like insane, because that would just never ever work. And I know that's a pretty powerful image, So think about who you are, and what works for you is not necessarily going to work for another person. Take your inspiration from your own essence. It doesn't have to be from somebody else. And if you need guidance in trying to figure that out, you certainly can contact me. And we can find that, part of the closet audit. Once we get finished getting rid of all of those clothes, we're left with some clothes, hopefully. And then from that, we can look at it thematically and see, what are you drawn to? Are you more of a creative dresser, or more of a classic dresser? Or, are you more like Audrey Hepburn? You like those really simple lines. So, just take a look at your closet, even today, just to see, are there colors in there? Like, what are you drawn to? It will tell your story. You just haven't been paying attention to it. Somebody has a question.
Oh yeah, what's the question? Let's see.
Who has a question?
Oh, whoops. Okay. Do you see the question on there?
I
Annie
did.
has one.
It just says Anne has one, but I don't know what Anne is asking. What's the
one hot item for this season? Is that it?
One hot item? My gosh. There's lots of trends going on this season. You're going to see lots of pinks. Pink is a huge color this season. You see all over the place. Animal print is always in. You'll see it on belts. You'll see it on shoes. You'll see it on jackets. So that's something that's hot. Whatever was hot for trends and the season may not be hot for you. So I'm just going to sort of caution you. I mean, you can have a nod to the trend, but kind of still make it your own. I'm a big sweater jeans kind of gal. So that's what you're going to see mostly in my closet. And I might add a pop of color from the trend. I'll do a pink, tank or something. Hopefully that helped, Annie. Sorry.
Yeah, I went to Target the other day, and it's like all these bizarre peasant dresses or crop tops. And these are not for me. So
Right,
but
right.
it's fun to look at what trends are, and sometimes they could work with us and sometimes not so much. But thank you so much, Mary. It's been such a joy to talk with you. Thank you for everyone who's been listening. Dr. Davia, thank you so much for inviting me on to host today's. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Liz and Dr. Devia.